All right. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? This is Chip Bubela for this month's Real Estate Radio program. And I got Ryan Allen and Coy Romine with me today.
Howdy.
Good morning.
We're going to talk about all kinds of things. Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to be sharing some lessons in real estate and entrepreneurship. But before we get started, we're going to talk about some local events we got happening this weekend. On Saturday, we got Freiburg Hall. We got the full Micken Moon this Saturday evening. John Micklick is going to be hosting a 6-course meal, live music and drinks. You'll be able to enjoy camaraderie and break bread under the full moon in Freiburg this weekend. So go to freiburghall.com. You can get your tickets there. I think we're limiting it to 25 couples. So there's still a few spots left. Go ahead and check that out at freiburghall.com. It's going to be a special evening. If you go to the Freiburg Hall Facebook page, there's a shout out that John puts out there. He talks about it all, why he came up with this idea. It's a pretty cool concept. So I think you'll enjoy it if you go check it out. And he's got a really good menu lined up for everyone. And then high school football is back, guys. Went to the Shorthorn game last week, and that was fun to watch under the new stadium lights and the new field, and it was a really great experience. So we got another home game this week, so let's pack the stadium again, folks.
And shout out to the other 2 Fayette County schools who won their opening nights. Fightoni and LaGrange won opening weekend. So congratulations to those schools.
Absolutely. Keep it going. Give it all you got. All right.
And then you had the
what else?
dry try.
Don't let me forget about the Anytime Fitness. We got our annual dry try fundraiser for Turtle Wing Foundation. So if you go to Anytime Fitness, check that out on the Facebook page. I believe it's September 8th, 9th, and 10th. I think it starts next week. I think it's next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So go sign up for that. It's a really great event to sponsor and fundraise for Turtle Wing Foundation. And you get in shape at the same time. And it's so what you do is you do a 3-mile run on the treadmill. You do a 2,000-meter row, I believe, on the rowing machine. And then you do a 5-mile bike ride on the bicycle.
Correct.
You do it at your own pace, but if you're competitive like me, you try to beat your record from the previous year, and the older you get, the harder that gets.
True. There's truth in that.
But we keep on giving it all we got. All right, so Ryan every month puts together an agenda for this radio show. And Coy asked me before we got here, how come you don't ever invite me no more? I was like, well, Ryan puts an agenda together, so I have something to talk about. Usually I just show up and just come up with something, Yeah. But anyways, Ryan puts an agenda together, and Coy's here with us today too, so he's back on the air, back in the saddle with us today. So one of the examples we want to talk about, my brother, the tree farmer, has this saying, and it says, the best day to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the second best day is today. And so my buddy Jimmy Sombera, he offered me to buy a house from him in 2015 for, I think it was $70,000. And I told Jimmy no, I didn't want to do it. And he was even offering to finance it to me, and I turned him down. And anyways, we're selling that house for a lot more money today. And he's reminding me of that repeatedly. You should have bought that house from me back in 2015, 10 years ago, Chip. You'd have been making a lot more money today. And I was like, you're right, Jimmy. So I think real estate, the whole tree concept kind of applies in real estate too. So the best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
That is true. That is correct.
So we have a really great market for buyers out there right now. I think it's a really great time and opportunity. There's more supply than there's been in a long time. Room to negotiate. You're not fighting against so many other buyers out there. And you're having rates settle down too. So I feel like when the rates do get even lower, it's going to get more competitive. So if you're on the fence, I think follow Jimmy Sombera's advice and don't turn down this opportunity today. If you're looking for a home, we'd love to help you guys out. You can reach us at 979-743-4555 or go to bubelarealestate.com. Check out some of our inventory. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we have some stellar agents at our office. You can go to our agents page and check them all out and let us know how we can help you guys out. Anything that I'm missing, Ryan and Coy? Anything y'all want to touch on?
No, but maybe jumping off of you missed this opportunity with this house, but then you've learned a lesson, hopefully. So, are there any other ones that you've missed and maybe have used that maybe mistake as an opportunity to grow?
Yeah, I've had lots of mistakes in entrepreneurship and business. There's been lots and lots of mistakes. I think the biggest mistake that I missed early on, and I didn't catch it till later on. So I've been rereading the E-Myth. It's a book by Michael Gerber. He wrote the E-Myth, and it's basically an entrepreneurial myth that you'd have an entrepreneurial seizure. So like say you're a plumber, you're an HVAC contractor, or you're a really good chef. Okay. And you're like, okay, I'm a good chef. I can cook really good food. Oh, I should go open up a restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's the entrepreneurial seizure that you have, because you're a really good cook, you're a really good technician, but then when you go into business, that's where the challenge is. Oh, you're really good at selling real estate, but are you going to be a really great manager of a brokerage? So those are two different things. So you're wearing three different hats when you own a business. When you decide to go into business by yourself. So a lot of times you start off, you're the technician, you're the manager, and you're the business owner. So you're wearing three hats. And that's the entrepreneurial myth, is that that's what's like the seizure, is that you don't realize there's all these things that you have to manage. So like in a real estate business, you have marketing, you have sales, you have production, you have customer service, you have accounting, you have bookkeeping, all these things that you have to manage. And so you can't wear all the hats. And so you have to put a team together and create a system and a process that other people can help you run that business, so to speak. And so I guess where I'm trying to go with that is when I started my real estate brokerage, I would just like all my commissions went into the company. And when I was the technician, I didn't pay myself like a technician. And so now I separate all that out. I think what I've learned is I pay myself. If I'm going to be producing, I'm going to pay myself the same amount that I would pay the agents that work on the team. And so the brokerage get paid, I get paid, and then if the brokerage does make a profit, I get paid that way. So I get paid three ways. I get paid to sell real estate, I get paid to be the broker owner, a salary, and then I also get paid a profit when the brokerage does make a profit. And if it doesn't make a profit, I don't get paid. But that's the way I broke it down. I wish I would have done that earlier on in my career. Early on in my career, all my commissions went straight into the business, and I didn't know where that money went. Now it's broken down into three parts, and it's what happens is by breaking it down, you realize if you're paying yourself to own a business, you're not really making money in that business. You're really just paying yourself or you're paying your business to have a brokerage, basically. You're not really making a profit. And so you can't see really what the cash flow is doing when you just put it all in one lump sum. So breaking it down makes it, you realize, okay, there's the technician part going out. Now here's the part that the brokerage shouldn't be getting paid. They shouldn't be getting paid 100%. They should be getting paid just as if another agent had sold that property. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It really cleans up the brokerage P&L.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really true statement of how healthy the organization is.
Yeah.
And when you do that, and I'm really glad when we made that change. One of the things I learned on my entrepreneurial journey is I'm only going to go as far as my people. You surround yourself with great people. You can go really far and do really great things. Surround yourself with not so good people or subpar people. You're going to really struggle and you're going to beat your head against the wall daily. Mm-hmm. But learning to find those great people, surround yourself by great people, you can do really great things, not just in your business, but in your community.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I've learned over my years.
By the way, I saw Ona Mark at this volleyball game last night, and she was really excited that you're going to be joining on EDC. So they're very happy about that. Just want to give you that.
Okay. Nice shout out. Thank you, Ona.
Yeah. So John Maxwell had a quote. He's often said, I don't know if you've ever heard of John Maxwell, but he's like the number one leadership guru in America, probably in the world almost. He's mentored a lot of leaders, but he said, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, take people with you. So it's very important to take people with you. So you don't want to be climbing up the mountain by yourself, and then you get up there and there's nobody there with you. So then you're like, oh, this is pretty lonely.
Very, very lonely.
So take people with you. Anything else on that?
Well, so a lot of times I feel like a lot of people will hit get a mistake in their life, and it creates a lot of discouragement. I feel like what makes a lot of entrepreneurs kind of stick out from other like failed business owners is their perseverance. So what do you guys find helps you persevere? Is it like education, just time in the business, knowing everything's going to be okay?
Knowing that a lot of times failure is your way to success. So Domino's Pizza, the reason it's called Domino's Pizza is because that guy failed 3 times before he made Domino. And the reason he named it Domino's is because every business prior to that fell like a domino.
Nice.
So, it's about not giving up and not letting your ego get in the way. I think so many people are afraid of failing. And because they're afraid of failing, they don't ever fail to learn and actually get to where they really want to be. You're going to fail. That's part of the process, unfortunately. And our school system teaches you not to fail. It teaches you got to get good grades. When you get in the real world, failure is really the way. I mean, that's how you learn. And but you got to learn from your mistakes. You can't repeat those same mistakes over and over. You have to learn from them and go on. So there's a lot of people that just keep making the same ones over and over. And it's there's a saying for that. I forget what it is, but it's
Sanity?
Insane. Yeah, it's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over, but repeating yourself,
Yeah.
making the same mistake.
My deal is what helps me, understanding you're going to fail and being comfortable with yourself, understanding, and nobody's watching you. You're putting too much pressure on yourself, so you're afraid to go do it, and then people are going to be afraid. It's like working at the gym. I've heard it so many times. People don't go to the gym or don't want to work out at the gym because they're afraid people are watching them.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching you.
No.
They're working out themselves.
Hey, go get a picture with 10 people in it, and you're in that same picture. Who's the person you're looking at? Yourself. Nobody's looking at you.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at themselves. I'm telling you.
And I'm gonna mention a book Bobby Bones wrote. It's called "Fail Till You Don't." You got to fail until you don't. You got to keep going. If you don't keep going, you're not going to achieve the goals you want. And the biggest thing that I get up every day for is my faith and family. And if you have those 2 things top of mind, I think you can do really great things, but don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah. You have to have a bigger why in yourself. And usually faith and family is a big why to get you going, right? For sure.
Nice. So outside purpose is great for entrepreneurs and embracing the failure.
Yeah.
Nice.
And money's like I learned this from Wayne Morgan don't work for money. Money's a drug, and once you're addicted to it, then it's really hard to quit working for it. And so create a lifestyle to where you don't need to make a whole lot of money and do what you really want to do, serve how you really want to serve. And then one day the money will show up because money is just a byproduct of your success and adding value throughout the day to people. So it's continue throughout the day. You always say, add value, add value, add value. And people will reward you for adding value. But don't focus on the money.
Yeah.
Focus on adding value. And that'll show up one day.
Great advice. Another thing I was thinking driving around town, or it's popping up a lot.
Okay.
We got some empty businesses around Schulenburg, right? And a lot of people throw out crazy ideas of what should go in them, and stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, like, yes, these are great ideas and they serve a purpose. Maybe even like something like a trampoline park, and like a building in Schulenburg. People would love to have these things, but personally, I look at it, I'm like, for some reason they seem too niche sometimes for a small town. And it brought up like kind of this idea. I was thinking of like, entrepreneurship looks different depending on where you're like planted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's been your experience, both of y'all's experience, running businesses and like leading in a small town compared to maybe what's happening in a bigger city?
It's a challenge. So I'll just talk about it. Freiburg Hall is a challenge. It's a very hard business to make work, right? And you got to see it through, but I think you have to create almost a, what do I want to call it? I can't find the word right now, but you have to create like this e-commerce around it, right? You can't just have dances. You've got to create a destination. You've got to create its own, it has to be a destination of some sort for not just the locals, but we need to be drawing other people. That's why I think most of your successful business owners in Schulenburg, if you notice, their market goes beyond our borders. If you're a manufacturer, you're able to sell beyond our borders. And so that's where your most successful businesses are, is because you're able to not just focus on what we have here. You're able to sell to a broader base of people, right? So you're able to ship out, you're able to bring in revenue from other places. And so when you're dependent just upon the 2,800 people in town, it's hard to make it. So you've got to figure out a way to be a destination. If you're in the retail business, if you're in hospitality business, restaurants,
Yeah.
you've got to create an experience that people will want to drive in for. I know, like Thursday through Sunday, it swells in town. You have a lot of your weekend cowboys that show up. How do you get those people to come to your business during those days? Because Monday through Wednesday, they're not going to be here. So you got to really draw them in those 4 days. How do you get them to bring their friends to town, make it an experience for them where they want to come and spend their money? So retail is a whole lot different than when you're a manufacturer or you're shipping and you're not stuck between your borders here of just Schulenburg or this zip code. You're able to ship out more or less to other places. So that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect sense. One prime example that I always go back to is the Shiner Brewery, and how it's in high school. Shiner Brewery was just a tour, and that was it. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't go on the premises. There wasn't live music. There wasn't, and it's evolved into a destination.
Yeah,
and if you can mirror something like that, and you have a product like that, that goes broad. I mean, Shiner's international now because of that,
but they can go beyond their borders.
But they've made that a destination,
for sure.
And that traffic to that venue on a weekend basis just drives revenue to that local community, and it strives because of it. Kind of jealous sometimes. I wish it was in my backyard, but the way that thing has gone, and if you ever talk to an employee at Shiner, man, they're proud to work there. And that's something else for business owners. Make sure your people are proud to work within your organization. And that's something I often remind myself, to make sure those that I'm surrounded by are proud where they go to every day.
Absolutely. Ron, I don't know, you got something you want to say?
Yeah. Well, just another question, I guess, coming off of this. Are there any kind of some challenges, right, are pretty obvious to a small town, but what are maybe some unique benefits you might have seen kind of developing your businesses here?
Well, our slogan for all our companies is small town people, big time experience. So you get that small town feel, but we also bring the big city, I guess you would call it, the technology piece with it, so to speak. So, like, I remember when I was in Austin, DocuSign was, I felt like I brought DocuSign to Schulenburg. Nobody else was using it yet, so I was able to bring that here. And it took 10 years for people to grapple on that. When I was doing that, way before anybody else was, and so keeping up with the times, I guess, so to speak. So keeping up with the times, where things are going, where things are heading, being a futurist, trying to adapt early, and bringing those adaptations, but still creating that small town feel, that experience that small town people bring. It's more of a relationship, City, everything's fast, everything's quick. Here we try to have that personal touch of a small town experience where the business owner, the people that work there, and you're not just a number.
Not just transactional.
Not transactional, for sure.
More layers to it in our small town.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot, and Chip's been the visionary on it, and it just popped in my head. But like having someone like Ryan on your team, like you're probably the only one in around that has someone like Ryan and the talent that he brings to the table as far as producing content and creating content, ideas, creating an agenda for a radio show. People, when you first introduce that, when we show it to listings and he's our content creator, and they probably just roll their eyes or have a big question mark on their face, because nobody does that. Those are visionary ideas that will, in 5 years, will have tremendous impact on what you're doing today. And
that's, I don't know if it's unfortunate or fortunate, but the way the world has gone, this content creation is so key going forward. That's how people find you. It's I know I met Petter and Mari, I've met them accidentally. They were clients, but they're like, we don't, if you'd have had something out there, we may have called you earlier. We just stumbled upon you, but tell your story. They think it's cool, and people our age think it's cool. So you'd attract those people if you did share it, and put yourself out there and all that stuff. So, yeah.
I worked for a company in Austin until 2014 that was roughly 100,000 people worldwide. And I took a lot of things from those organizations back to me when I started building my own. And lessons I learned when I built it, or was started to build our organizations. And a lot of it was red flags. And those big organizations have so many red flags. And that's what I like to live in the gray area. I like to do things, I don't want to be big enough where I get in trouble, but, I like to be able to freely be able to run an organization and have fun, work hard, play hard, kind of thing. Whereas we're not always scrutinized or being flagged.
Yeah. It's a good benefit from being in a smaller community. Another thing, one last question I was thinking of, from, being entrepreneurs in a small community is, how is networking different compared to the city, right? Because I feel like you guys know everybody in town. And is it easier? Is that maybe even a detriment sometimes if there is no more network to grow, or do you find yourself ever expanding your net, finding new ways?
I think it's more powerful. I think you don't get lost, because you can I forget what the stats, but you can know probably 200 people really well, but it's hard to know 200 people really well, but it's like you max out. But if you can know the right people in the right town, you can really make a lot of momentum that way. But you got to know the right people, and it's keeping up with those connections with the right people and knowing who to call and get things done. And then focusing on those relationships, it's ROR, return on relationship. You got to give, and the other person got to give, and you have those relationships where you're consistently giving and giving and giving, and then you receive too. But having the right contacts, having the right relationships in a small town is a lot easier, I feel like, than in the city. You're able to navigate it. You kind of know who to call because you know each other more or less better, So I like that. I think in the city, it's probably harder to get to know the right people in the city.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Probably more chance of running into the wrong person too.
For sure. People take advantage. Dude, I'm going to tell you, I got swindled so many times in the city by people that I trusted.
Yeah.
And there were some slime bags.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I had to tell somebody to do the right thing when they knew they were wrong. But hey, that's not what the contract says. Yeah. That's not what you told me. I get it's what the contract says, but that's not what you told me. And I took your word for it. And I'm going to get fired up real quick. But, that's the things you got to watch out for in the city. And here, if you do that kind of thing over here, you will get burned. The whole town will burn you. So
I think, not that I wasn't a good person at the start, but if kind of, it keeps you on your toes. If you're being watched constantly in a small town, so your actions are going to be, they're going to be seen. And if you're not treating people well, you're not going to do very well in business. And that's what there have been people in our community that didn't hold up to their word, and they're no longer around. And I think that shows a point that there's benefits of doing things in a small town. One of the cons of being in a small town is the revenue's limited.
Yeah.
There's only so many dollars in our community, and it goes back to having a niche in your business. When you build that business, either a boutique or a restaurant, there's only so many restaurants that can survive in a community. You really have to, when you go out to start that business, you really have to look at that dollar amount and see how much money you're going to pull on a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday night, and your business can survive on it.
Yeah. You got to run the numbers and then figure out from there what's feasible, what's not feasible, right? Yeah.
And are you going to work in that business every day, or are you going to pay somebody to run that business every day?
Another thing that's really hard in a small town is to be the owner and not be there physically.
True.
You have to physically be there. I feel like there's not enough dollars coming in the door for you to not to work in that business a lot of times. You need to be there and be an owner operator, so to speak. You can't be the owner and not operate and be part in that business, functioning in some way, form, or fashion. I feel like it's harder.
Yeah, because you're also dealing with limited money and also limited human resources as well. Like how many people can you actually get to come work for you?
It's not to say it's not possible, but it's probably a lot easier. So if you're a Main Street person, I mean, there's all this stuff too, like it's called Keep Main Street, keep Main Street owned by small companies, small business owners. And I've listened to some of those forums, and I hear a lot of people, if you're going to be a Main Street boutique, you have to work in that business. You're not going to own that business and not work in it. You're going to have to physically be there and make it go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think a true testament would be to Audio Video Plus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've owned that organization. I think they had an anniversary this past year, 50 years, and they've worked in that business every day, and they've proven that it can work that way.
Yeah, for
and shout out to those
Bruce
folks.
And Joanne,
shout out to Bruce and Joanne, that they're a true staple to what you can do being an owner operator, and their customer service is amazing, and then that's why I continue to go back there. But that's one example. That's a company that survived so many years.
For sure. Absolutely. That was a
lot of adaptation there too. I remember hearing stories that you guys used to rent videos from there, like on the VHS.
Buy cassettes.
Yeah. Used to go rent Nintendo games.
Yeah.
And they'd be able to change and adapt with the times and continue to reinvent themselves.
Probably a little easier in a small town. You know?
Yeah. I know it's neat.
Now you can get mattresses, sheets, and refrigerators and TVs, and I'm sure other electronics, but you're true. They've adapted.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, we got about 3 minutes. It was a really great show. I felt like this felt like an hour almost rather than 30 minutes. I hope whoever's listening, I hope you got something out of this show. I think it was great content, Ryan. Great. I love the itinerary we had today. It was really great stuff. And Corey, thank you too. You all added a lot of value to our listeners today. And even to me, just listening to you guys, it was an awesome day. What do you want to end on? Let's hit on a high note of some sort here, Ryan and Corey. What are we going to end it with?
Something I learned this morning, that this show is audio record, or no, it's on YouTube now.
So I'm gonna start posting video of it to YouTube so you can watch replays or share it with your friends. Yeah,
so if you missed or you know somebody that missed it, please go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel. I don't know how many times I've heard that, and share with your friends and family.
It'll be on Entre Real Estate on YouTube, and you can find us there.
Very good. All right, guys. Last plug for Full Mick and Moon at Freiburg Hall this weekend on Saturday. Try to come support it. It's a great event. Have a really 5-6 course meal under the full moon, live music, drinks. Bring your wife. It's more of a date night type of feel thing. Share camaraderie and all this, and so it'll be a wonderful, wonderful evening to come out there. Go to FreiburgHall.com and check that out. And then also don't forget about our fundraiser at Anytime Fitness for Turtle Wing Foundation coming up in September. That's another great event. That's all the plug I got. Visit BubelaRealEstate.com. You can visit also partnersinstx.com for all your insurance needs. And we appreciate all of y'all's business and support this year so far.
Entre Podcast. They're out wherever you listen to your stream your Apple, Spotify,
YouTube.
Do we have one coming up? Do we have one planned? Let me know.
Yeah, I'm trying. I've called. Ryan was with me in the truck yesterday. I made some calls trying to get. I was trying to get this Flashboy guy on Carl. Beluda called him. So okay. Carl, if you know Carl, tell him to call me back. I'm trying to get him on because I think they do a heck of a job over there at Splashway, especially with their training and all that stuff that they do. With the Dale Carnegie and stuff like that. They do a lot of good training.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Want to learn from him and what they implement there. So want to share with
you. Should have an episode out later this month. So
awesome, guys. God bless you all. You have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon. Take care.